Thanks so much for staying with us. We remind you to download the CVM TV app from the Google Play Store. We begin with an update on the violence that affected residents of Mountain View. Southeast St Andrew MP Julian Robinson says the residents are cautiously optimistic as gangs agree to peace following a recent tour of the community and a meeting with the warring factions. CVM Live's Nika Lewis reports.
It appears the activities planned for the Christmas period by the Southeast St Andrew MP were affected by the gun violence in sections of his constituency, where amidst treats for the elderly, criminals denied their fellow Jamaicans a right to the new year and to life.
We had planned a children's treat for Jake's Road, but because of the upsurge in violence, we had to cancel it. There are a number of persons here from the Jake's Road and Mountain View communities who are here. We did a walkthrough on Wednesday, the Peace Management Initiative, members of the police force, members of the political directorate. We had a meeting immediately after the walkthrough, and some of the leaders came together. They have made a commitment to peace. All the residents want peace. Two of the leaders, one from Goodridge Lane, one from Jake's Road, they shook hands, they embraced, and fortunately since that time we haven't had any incidents.
He says the residents and likewise the political stakeholders remain cautiously optimistic.
I hope that Mountain View is restored to the place it was before, where persons from different communities could interact without any problems. The police continues to maintain a heavy presence within the area, and the dialogue with the key stakeholders, that dialogue continues. And so at this point in time, as I said, we are happy that we haven't had any incidents since Wednesday, and we hope the situation can remain as is.
Just hours before Jamaicans herald in the new year, the MP alluded to the new life and endless possibilities this relative calm has afforded the community.
Shops were closed, people couldn't sleep at night. We had to cancel the street, so day-to-day life was affected. When we went on Mountain View at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, there was nobody there. Nobody was taking public transportation. Nobody was on the road. The people who sell on the road couldn't do it. So this was very disruptive to a lot of people. So I think there are a number of people who are happy that the situation is holding. And again, you know, I know peace doesn't happen overnight, but we had a positive start and we hope to maintain it.
Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
Jamaicans saw another bloody year with over 1,600 people murdered in 2017, and echoing an appeal for the government to find a way to combat crime was the PNP's General Secretary.
Up to today, there have been 1,608 murders in Jamaica with 2 days left before the end of the year. There's a wage dispute with the police force. I'm again calling on the Prime Minister himself. I was appalled to hear a release from OPM that the Prime Minister only received correspondence and needed to be briefed almost as if he was unaware of what was happening. No, the entire Jamaica knows that the police has been on sick out for days. We have a national crisis with over 1,600 murders. The last time we had over 1,600 murders was 2009. It requires an immediate intervention. You can't wait. The Prime Minister himself, not the Minister of National Security, he has to intervene, sit down with the police, hear what their issues are.
He says a non-responsive nature of the government has resulted in the extended police sick-out and suggests there are ways of resolving the issue while stemming crime.
We can't go into 2018 with the level of murders. Just under 5 murders a day are taking place. It's clear that the ZOSA has not worked. In Mount Salem, you may have peace in 1 square mile area, but the rest of Montego Bay, you have people in broad daylight executing people in the most busy roads like Howard Cook Boulevard. So that policy has not yielded the benefits. It needs to be reviewed, and the government needs to come to the country with a proper crime plan. It's the #1 issue affecting all Jamaicans. Jamaicans do not feel safe and secure, and it's a responsibility of our government to put in place plans and policies to ensure the safety of Jamaicans.
A St. Elizabeth family is this evening pleading for help after fire destroyed everything they owned. The family of 9 who escaped a fire with only what they were wearing at the time is hoping for a fresh start through your charity to start the new year. The rubble after the cleanup from a house fire in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, the Wednesday before Christmas Day 2017. The 41-year-old structure went up in flames sometime after 5 in the afternoon. Wendy Hamitul Debril has lived all her life at this location in the 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom kitchen, dining, living and veranda, also occupied by her husband and 3 kids. Her cousin and a 1-year-old baby and her 2 grand-aunts also lived there. Now they are all homeless, 5 adults in total, and 4 children, including a 17, 13 and a 9-year-old. The Treasure Beach Fire Department confirmed responding to the call for help immediately. CVM Live understands the risk was assessed at $35 million, with losses at $30 million. The house was, however, not insured. Early indication is sparks were spotted coming from an extension cord inside a room the night before. While the victims of the fire are now staying with relatives nearby, they are still trying to pick up the pieces and start all over again for 2018. Minister of Transport and Mining has announced plans to ramp up redistribution of mined lands and assist families to acquire land titles in bauxite areas. The plans for the mined lands were detailed last week as the first shipment of alumina from Alpart was sent to China in almost 9 years.
The minister was speaking to the level of development and employment that will be afforded Jamaicans with a new policy direction for bauxite and the added Chinese investment.
We're now poised to see the development of an industrial park, which will see the manufacturing of final products like aluminum foil, etc. At the Ministry of Transport and Mining, we're taking the lead to ensuring that our environment is protected. But we are stopping there in New Year. We'll be intensifying our efforts to return more mine lands to the people. We'll be intensifying our efforts to provide more relocated individuals with titles of their land so they can unlock the true value of their properties. Because in many instances, I still believe that past history has shown that we have had a wasted asset in terms of the development and integration of the communities. The word community council was meant to drive forth the fact that we integrate, that we relate, that we lead to development, and we build that all into the economic structure of the country.
Minister Henry explained that in all investment there needs to be a sense of continuity and integration, even with an understanding of changing governments.
So we are going to expand the utilization of mine lands to include research and development and the growing of plants with medicinal value, and yes, inclusive of ganja, if it can be dealt with. No longer must we hand back lands to the people without telling them the value of the land, because indeed that is part of our history of the lack of our involvement in our country, the lack of being placeless rather than being placed in one specific area, named and addressed. So while GISCO invests heavily in this industry, and I want to re-emphasize the point that we're poised today in a development where the Chinese government has decided, or the provincial government of GISCO, to invest $3 billion, $1 billion a year for the next 3 years. That is part of what the Belt and Road is about.
The minister said he anticipates a safe shipment of the over 35,000 tons of alumina recently shipped to GISCO, China, and hopes there will be mega vessels in the future waiting to ship more alumina from Jamaica. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
Meanwhile, a number of Jamaicans are to leave for China in the new year for technical training to return and take up top-level jobs at the Chinese-run bauxite plant at Alpart.
And as we look at it, we look at the achievements that are being done and the comparison of where we are as a community and as a country. 60 young Jamaicans will depart for China towards the end of February into early March for training in technical operations. After successfully completing 1.5 years of training, they will return from China to guaranteed positions with a clear career path to middle and upper management positions. They will be the first cohort in a program that will continue at a cost of approximately $5 million.
The government is also lauding itself in acquiring some 80% of the jobs offered at GISCO Alpart for Jamaicans at all levels.
I'm happy that the current employment is now 900 of the existing refinery and power plant, port, railroad and mining operations, and over 80% are Jamaicans from top management to maintenance workers. The construction plan of the new refinery and the new power plant will require approximately 300 Jamaican workers of various skills in each project. Many of these employees will have job openings after construction is complete. The total workforce at the completion in phase 1 of the upgraded current refinery and power plant, new 230 megawatt power plant to come, and a new 3 million ton refinery will be approximately 2,000, most of which will be Jamaicans, including the graduates of the ongoing training program.
The mayor of Kingston was in a celebratory mood today, speaking at the flag-raising ceremony celebrating the 145-year anniversary of Kingston.
This is our city, and we have said that our city should really become the capital city of the Caribbean. It's really not the capital of a country, but the capital of a region.
Mayor Desmond Williams believes he is on the way to first offer a welcome and a symbolic experience erected for all to see.
One, we really want to restore pride in our city and by extension in our country, and also the importance to us of this corridor coming from the airport into the downtown Kingston area. We know that the Norman Manley International Airport has a vested interest in the corridor, and they have been doing major work and planning in terms of this area. The UDC the same, and the KSAMC.
He says the airport's project to improve roundabouts starting with Harbourview will be expanded to downtown.
Vendors have been there for probably the last 20 or 30 years. Well, that is part of also the beautification. We have a memorandum of understanding with Jamaica National and the Ministry of Housing to also enhance the beauty of that area, and we will begin to work at that. My understanding is no later than February. So as we go into 2018, the dialogue with the UDC, with the airport, Norman Manley International Airport, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, JSIF, all the agencies, the JCF, will continue, and we will really achieve in 2018. Mark our words from the KSAMC. We will achieve in 2018, we will achieve our big projects.
And Mayor Williams has admitted there are matters affecting the city which must be addressed. Today he told the gathering not only is he prepared to be open about them, but he's giving the assurance of action next year.
There are issues confronting us in the city, and we will face those issues, and we will not hide from them. The issue of garbage, both collection, storage, disposal, that issue must be dealt with.
In the meantime, the mayor is on the receiving end of a most scathing assessment, labeling him a failure with a very low grade. The mayor was taken to task by former Deputy Mayor Andrew Swaby. Here is CVM Live's Rohan Daly with that story.
The minority leader was not sparse in his criticism of Kingston Mayor Delroy Williams. He cited a number of reasons he believes why the mayor has failed, and says he will continue to hold him accountable for the failures of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Council. He berated Mayor Williams for not convening at least one town hall meeting for the year, and for not reporting to the people as was the case when the PNP was in charge. He also says the mayor has been totally clueless and is clearly not driving the operations.
As far as I'm concerned, it is the Minister of Local Government who are spearheading these things and who are going around having town hall meetings, when that should be the duty of the local authority. The Minister is in charge of policy.
The mayor, he adds, is making erroneous pronouncements via Twitter, taking credit for already established systems. When asked to judge the performance of the present leadership out of 10, Mr. Swaby says 4 would be their perfect score.
And I'm being very generous. I believe that there are several announcements that have been made and nothing has come out of them. They have talked about on-street parking. Nothing has happened. They have talked about the privatization of Beckford Street. Nothing has happened. And I can go on. There seem to be an administration that just put things on Twitter and nothing happens.
Swaby was speaking at a senior citizens' treat he organized along with the Member of Parliament. Over 200 senior citizens were hosted from communities across the division, including Lower Vineyard Town, Nannyville, and McGregor Gully.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to host one in the Jakes Road because of the violence. But as soon as that is cooled down, and certainly we have seen sign where it's cooling down, we will do one in Jakes Road community.
Rohan Daly, CVM Live.
This is CVM Live. We go to a break ahead of news from overseas.